Yo, what's up guys? My name is Nick and welcome to the Italian Grand Prix. In today's episode we are going to take on the Temple of Speed. Of course, we are doing the usual activities and we have a new message. And it says Valtteri Bottas is retiring from the Formula 1. To be honest, I didn't expect this at all. I thought maybe Vettel or Hamilton or maybe even Alonso. Of course, they are pretty much at the end of their career, as Vettel is retiring in real life at the end of this season, of course. But nonetheless, Valtteri Bottas is stopping and is maybe going to do some other things like cycling, as he has been doing over the last couple of weeks, of course, in the summer break. Personal department, that's what we have to do right now, and it is Lawson who wants to take a day off. This would improve his awareness but decrease his racecraft. To be honest, by decline is the other ones around. So I think I would prefer awareness on top of racecraft, because if you don't have awareness, then you can't even race good. So that's our choice, of course. Here we go for qualifying then, coming out of the pits, of course, to start our first lap. And it's Max Verstappen who is close behind us and wants to overtake us actually in the pit exit. We are not even in turn 1 and he already tries to overtake it, but as soon as we get to the first corners, he just stays behind. Like, why are you doing that, mate? If you want to pass, just pass. But nonetheless, let's just get our first lap done as we are here to start the first lap. Of course, you can see Max Verstappen is far in front of us because we let him through. The same with Kevin Magnussen, of course, as we don't want any traffic in our qualifying run. But nonetheless, the first two corners are already done and we move on to Lesmo 1 and 2. You can see it's a green sector, of course, because it's our first lap. I think that's quite obvious, as you can see. Going through Lesmo 2, it's a really good job what I'm doing here. So let's see. Coming out of Parabolica, Max Verstappen set me 119 point something, and I'm going to set a 122.1, and we invalidate our previous lap. That hasn't happened before, but as you can see, a 122 would have been a mile of the other guys. So it doesn't worry us too much, as we are now in our second lap. You can see almost a second improvement. So really happy with that, as Liam is only in 20th place and maybe even further down the road, as we are improving quite a lot, to be honest. Coming out of Parabolica once again. Can we set a better time than a 122, and can we stay on the good side of the white line? Yes, we can. We are in P15 for now, so that is something really promising, as we are not that strong with our power. So our engine is just not as fast as the others. So we need to try, and a big snap of oversteer, but of course we managed to keep it on the track, as we are once again behind a Red Bull. And this time it's Sergio Perez actually. So Ocon, who came out behind us, is now in front of us, as I want to use him for some slipstream. Of course, he is in a faster car and he is our rival, so we want to have a better starting position than him, as we want to win our rivalry and get some acclaim for the team and also for ourselves, because we can buy some perks if we have enough money. 1/10 down on Vettel, so maybe we need to improve our lap. As you can see, only a small increase in the lap, as we are only 1/10, maybe 2. No, it's only 1/10 ahead of ourselves compared to last time around. Is it enough for Q2? We were on P17 or maybe P18, but it's P22 as we cross the finish line, so not a good qualifying. Of course, it's really close between everyone. As we are coming to the results, you can see Ocon in P14, 1 second off Max Verstappen, and we are only 1.5 seconds, so it's really close to the Q2 time, but it just wasn't enough for us. Liam also in P19, so we're out once again out of qualifying in the first part of it, but hopefully we can have a better race, as I have the feeling that the pace is still there, even though we are starting in last position, of course. But let's just have a look at what we can do in the race.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest track in Formula One. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some close action. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Hamilton, George Russell and Fernando Alonso, Magnussen, Gasly, Mick Schumacher and Lando Norris. Sainz, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Joe, Sebastian Vettel and Stroll. Ricciardo, they've taken a grid penalty. Liam Lawson, Esteban Ocon and the engineer. Bottas, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Albon, Latifi and Yuki Tsunoda. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
It's time to race, and here we are then on P18, as some cars had some penalties, but lights are out and away we go. A bad start for Alonso, but still he's way up the grid compared to us, as we are here in I think it's now P20, but have a look at this. You can see on the grass we go, and almost going into our teammate. We are now in P16, but we had a legal overtake on Ricciardo apparently, so we fall back down to P18. Still not a bad start, but yeah, to be honest, I don't even know what happened there, because I just needed to go out of the way from Albon, as it was quite a difficult turn 1, to be honest. But as you saw in the start, when we started the race, I actually had some TV-like shots, so I'm trying to implement that into this race and even into the next episode as well. As you can see here, Esteban Ocon tries to overtake me, but has a little bit of oversteer and needs to correct that, so now he loses 1 position to Bottas and also 1 to the Williams and AlphaTauri, who is now in last place. Let's see what he can do from there, as we are braking for turn 1 once again, second time already. Is Ricciardo and Albon going through side by side, but that loses us quite a lot of time. But now onto Ascari we go. You can see it's my teammate actually, and I don't know what he's doing, but he's losing 2 positions. And as you can see, he's coming out of Ascari not with a great amount of speed, but Ricciardo wasn't doing that either. So there's no side by side, even in front of him. Can he hold that position? The McLaren has a little bit extra top speed, so he has to give the position back but hopefully we can do something about that, as we are right behind them in P18, of course, still in that same position as we were at the beginning of the Grand Prix. And now DRS is enabled and our teammate is going for it once again. Can he overtake him now in turn 1? Let's just see. I don't think so. We tried to do a cutback, but we actually have contact with our teammate. Luckily no damage at all, because that would have really ruined our race. And you can see Bottas having a look around the outside, but nothing happened there. And now it's our teammate. We need to overtake him, of course, as we want to move forward into the Grand Prix. We get a little bit deep into turn 1, but we managed to overtake him. And he actually tries to come back, as you can see. He is alongside us, but hopefully he doesn't battle it too much. Otherwise he won't be driving for us in Season 2, of course, as there are only a few races left. But we managed to just hold on to the 70th position and a little bit of oversteer, actually just some wheel spin once again. And here through the last most speed go, you can see our teammate side by side with Valtteri Bottas, and that loses him a lot of time. You can see me go off into the distance. But yeah, that's not great, of course, as now he's already lost position to Bottas and Ocon, as it's lap 6 right now, and Bottas is trying to overtake us with that DRS that he has. But in front of us there's a small pack of, I think, 3 cars who are fighting quite a lot, so we need to try not to battle too much, to catch up with them, of course, as we want to move forward. We only want to move forward. But this yellow flag, let's see what happened there. It's Mick Schumacher, who had a little bit of a spin, I guess. Yes, you can just see after that left hand, he was just going too quickly onto the throttle, and I think is this Fernando Alonso, or is this I don't think this was Fernando, but you can see just putting on full throttle when you are in a corner is not the best thing to do, as it was indeed Fernando Alonso. Of course, they were quite far up ahead, so it was Alonso, as Ocon is right behind us. But we want to hold on to that 16th position, as now Ocon is trying to have a look at our outsides, but nothing is happening here as we try to overtake Bottas with that DRS once again. I think we can do that easily now with the use of some ERS as well. Not too much, as we want to have some ERS to defend from them as well once we are past them, as we are side by side through that first chicane. But you can see Bottas having a little bit of an extra traction and a good exit out of turn 2. He manages to get alongside with us, but we just hold on to that 16th position. And now Stroll is up ahead, and we need to get that guy. He is in an Aston Martin. He is in a better car, or at least that's what the paper is showing us. But of course everything is different from track to track. And we are coming into the pits in I guess 2 laps. I don't really know what Mark said there, but going deep into turn 1 once again, as Bottas tried to overtake us down the inside, but he loses out on that, and also maybe loses P17 to Tsunoda, who is quite far back, as he had some grid penalties as well. But let's just have a look behind us. It's Bottas, Tsunoda and Ocon fighting quite hard. As you can see, Ocon actually tries to overtake 2 cars, and he is doing it as well. As said, Alpine has a great engine. But Tsunoda stays down the inside and holds on to that position. There's nothing Ocon can do. But I shouldn't have said something, as Ocon is now in front. But there's once again a yellow flag. What is happening here? So many AI mistakes, as it's Pierre Gasly going too fast through Ascari and just loses the back end. You can see it from an off-board cam. He just loses the back end and into the wall he goes. Hopefully not too much damage, as we are going into the pits just like some other drivers, as the likes of Daniel Ricciardo and of course Alexander Albon in the Williams. And I don't know what the shot is, but mate, get out of the way. I want to look at the cars, not at you. And this is us, of course, having a good pit stop. And I don't know in what kind of speed the Haas crew went, but that was just lightning speed. But now coming out of the pit straight, of course, it's already lap 13. And you can see our tires are really cold, but we managed to actually maintain the gap to Stroll and Albon in front. And now we have a little bit of a bigger gap behind. So let's just hope we can hold on to this position and even get some extra positions that our teammate hasn't pitted yet. And maybe some other drivers as well. So with that cold tires, we need to look out, of course.
It looks like we might have an issue. Hang in there, we're attempting to manage it.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me, mates.
Okay, it's not good news, I'm afraid. Seems like an engine issue.
But do we need to retire? It doesn't seem like it. Teammate is in the pits right now. But our engine is just set to lean, of course.
Tsunoda's in the pits.
He's not, he's right in front of us. You can see that right there. As we try to overtake him around the outside, can we do it? Yes, we can. Of course we can do it. We are just the best driver on the grid. To be honest, that is a joke for the people who didn't get it. As you can see, Tsunoda is just coming back at us right now as we are still in lean mode with our fuel. We are still having an issue with our engine, but hopefully it will be fixed soon. As we now have Bottas and Liam right behind us. As you can see, Bottas going down the inside of Lesmo 1. But we try to hold on a little bit of contact, but our engine is fixed once again. So we try to keep our, ahead of Bottas. But he didn't get the DRS. We got the DRS. Nice. Let's just try to stay ahead of him, of course, in P17. It's not for points, not even close. But we will get there as we were less than 1,000 away last time around in Zandvoort. So if you haven't seen that episode, go check it out right now. Its link is in the description, of course. But yeah, having a look now at once again the last modes. We are coming through this corner for the 16th time, and you can see warning track limits. Mate, what did I do there? It was just like I turned in too early, which cost me a warning. And it's yellow flags. What is happening here? It's Esteban Ocon out of the Grand Prix. Alright. I didn't expect that at all. But that is good for our rivalry and going really deep through the first and second corner, which allowed Bottas to overtake us after we had to give up some time. And it's another yellow flag. What happened here? It's Alexander Albon out of the race. What is happening to these engines? It isn't a crash, as you can see, and it's safety car deployed. Oh no. Maybe we should go for the softs and try to overtake some people. As you can see, yes, we are going for the soft tires and into the pits we go. It's an optional turn in as usual. But we lose some positions, of course, to Schumacher, Lawson and Gasly, but we can overtake them once we are behind the safety car. But now something weird is going to happen. As you can see, we are coming out of the pits. Nothing weird is happening right now. The delta is still there as no one has actually, or the leader isn't actually at the safety car yet, so we need to have the delta until then. But as soon as Leclerc showed up behind the safety car, this happened. I don't know what happened. But this just meant that we couldn't catch up as the AI was still driving with that delta. So we didn't gain any time, and I didn't really care anymore at this point. As you can see, I lost quite a lot of time when the safety car was coming into the pits. But only the first and second driver, who were Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen, actually were behind the safety car, and the other drivers were just everywhere on the circuit. So that was a little bit of a glitch. But now it's lap 22. We have a purple second sector. Can we get the fast lap? I don't think so, just because we need to watch out for Gasly. Of course, he is still in front of us, but there's only 5 laps remaining. So we need to overtake him, of course, and try to maybe close the gap to Liam. But I don't think we can do that, as it's a gap of 7.5 seconds. But still, we hold our heads up high as the safety car has just screwed us over. Only a few laps remaining. Our fastest lap of the race is 1:22.1. As you can see, we try to overtake the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly. Can we do it? Yes, we can, of course. It's not that hard when you have soft compound tires and just that little bit extra DRS and ERS that we use, of course. But side by side, we go to turn 4, but we managed to use the full track. As you can see, we had a little bit of a track cut there, but nobody noticed that at the FIA, so we don't need to worry for a penalty. But still, it's only a few laps away from that finish line that we need to cross, of course, to finish this race. As now in lap 26, or actually lap 25 it was just a few seconds ago, and Gasly overtakes us once again, but our tires are at the end of their life cycle, so it's now Leclerc and Verstappen setting fastest laps of the race, as the AI is going to some kind of god mode with their ERS, so we won't be able to overtake Gasly anymore. But this is our race. Leclerc wins at the Ferrari home Grand Prix, of course. It's amazing for the T4C, but yeah, the safety car just really screwed us over there. Otherwise we could have gone for some points, maybe, I don't know, but Yuki Tsunoda is driver of the day, which doesn't really interest us, but okay.
Ferrari have really pulled it out of the bag today. It's a great win. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
It's a double podium for Red Bull then. Hopefully we will be there in the future. Maybe in Season 2, maybe in Season 3. It all depends on how the regulations changes will hit us, of course, and the other teams. But the biggest surprise of the day is, of course, Valtteri Bottas saying that he's going to stop with the Formula 1. It's a really shame that we need to see him go in 2022. But yes, still it's a double podium for Red Bull and a win for Ferrari at their home Grand Prix, of course. The biggest surprise is actually Lando Norris, who went from P10 to P4. He had a really good race, but we didn't have that. As you can see, it's P17 and P19 for our team this time around. The TV has been lapsed, so that is it for today. You can see here it's once again an overtake, but to be honest, it wasn't a great race. Hopefully we can do better in Singapore. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you want to see the next video, you can click on it right now if it is out. If it isn't, then you are one of the early ones. Comment whatever you like. And I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next episode in Singapore.